Coming to the detailed analysis of the sonnet, the first verse reads, "What is your substance? Whereof are you made?" The poet is in awe. He is surprised. He is astonished at the beauty of his friend, and this astonishment of his, this awe of his, forces him to ask a question about the existence, about the creation of his friend, and he doubts that the substance of which his friend is made is not same or similar to the substances of which the others are made. Now what he is saying कि जो उसका दोस्त है वो किसी अलग चीज से बना है, वो किसी अलग तरह से बना है. So he asks him question, what is your substance? Whereof are you made? तेरा वजूद किसका है, तू किससे बना है, तुझे कैसे बनाया है? These are some of the questions that strike him. And why does he ask these questions about his friend, or why does he doubt that the substance of which his friend is made is not similar to those of the others? What is the difference between his friend and the other human beings becomes obvious in the second verse, as he says that millions of strange shadows on you tend. Now this millions of strange shadows on you tend means attend. There is a theory which is very important in order to understand this particular sonnet, and that theory is about Neoplatonic metaphysics. And that believed, even if you know the Plato's theory, he said that this whole universe, this world, is an imitation of an ideal world or an imitation of a real world. Since this whole universe or all the objects or human beings are only a shadow of that reality, therefore what this theory believes in, that each individual has got one shadow, or each individual has got, is a reflection of one reality. But the strange case with his friend is that it consists of millions of shadows. It consists of, a different form of reality which creates this particular friend of his. तो ये जो इस theory से हट के बात है, ये एक अलग बात है इसके दोस्त में, जिसको लेके वो कह रहा है कि there must be a different substance of which you are created, and there is a great scope of doubting the real creation or origin of his friend, because it does not fit in the existing theory which most of the people believe, that is the Neoplatonic metaphysics. Coming to the third stanza, since everyone hath everyone one shade. Now that is what this Neoplatonic theory is all about, or metaphysics is all about, that every individual has got one shadow, or every individual is a spark, a speck of that reality. But that is not the case with his friend. It incorporates in himself all the beautiful things of the world, or he incorporates himself all the beautiful things of the world, the shadows of all the beautiful things of the world, the shadow of whole reality. He is not a speck out of that reality, he is not a spark out of that reality, which most of the people are, but he seems to be whole of that reality. He seems to be everything of that reality. He seems to encompass in himself all the beautiful things of the world. Now this is something that makes his friend unique. This makes him friend different, and this is something that forces him to ask the question about the real essence of his friend, and that is why he would ask that what is your substance? Of what are you made? And you but one can every shadow lend. It seems that poet is saying that the reality is his friend, and it is his friend who is lending the beauty to all other aspects of the world. He is not the real shadow, but he raises him to a status where his friend would become the reality. And it is this reality which lends shadow to all other things of the world. So that is how he is praising his friend. Or, in Donne's terms, this John Donne's term, he is the whole universe, he is the whole essence, or he is the whole reality, out of which, the rest of the things are made, rest of the beauty gets its shape or gets its beauty. Describe Adonis, and the counterfeit is poorly imitated after you. Now, he is referring to Adonis. Adonis is a beautiful character from even one of his works, Venus and Adonis. And he says that even if you want to describe the beauty of Adonis in one word, it would be an imitation of you, a counterfeit of you. Counterfeit means copy. Adonis would be a copy of you, and that a poor copy of you, which means that the beauty that Adonis has comes from you. As I said earlier, what Shakespeare is doing here, he is describing his friend in such a manner that his friend becomes a reality, and the essence of all the beauty in the world, and the beauty that we have besides him in this world is but a shadow of his friend, is lent from his friend, as is the case with Adonis. Even if you have to describe Adonis, अगर आप कहोगे कि Adonis कितना खूबसूरत है, तो वो इतना खूबसूरत है कि वो शेक्सपियर के दोस्त की कॉपी है, कॉन्टरफीट है। उसकी जो खूबसूरती है वो इसके दोस्त से आई है। इसका मतलब एडोनिस जो है वो इसके दोस्त से ज्यादा खूबसूरत नहीं है। Now this is the argument that the poet is making in favor of his friend. On Helen's cheek all art of beauty set, and you in Grecian tires are painted new. Even if you want to explain the beauty of Helen. Now, Helen is a reference to that Greek lady, Helen of Troy, who was considered as the most beautiful lady of that time. And he says that even if you want to explain the beauty of Helen with all art and painting that you have, उसकी एक खूबसूरत सी painting अगर आपको बनानी है, तो the best part would be that you put the Grecian tires upon his friend. Tires means attire. आप उसको वैसे कपड़े पहनाओ, and you will realize that even Helen has got the beauty from his friend, or his friend is more beautiful than Helen. Now, this is how he is praising. This seems to be an absolute exaggeration that William Shakespeare is doing for his friend. He is exaggerating his beauty, and he is saying that all the beautiful things in the world are but a shadow of his friend. Speak of the spring and the poison of the ear, the one doth shadow of your beauty show. Talk about anything. Spring, for example, is the most beautiful season of the year. Even if you talk about that, it's a reflection of his shadow, of his beauty. Foison means the harvest. The crops, when they are in full bloom, they are ripe. Talk about their beauty. They are but a shadow of his friend. Anything that is good in this world gets its beauty and its goodness and its essence from his friend. That's how he raises his friend above everything in the world, in the universe. The other as your bounty doth appear, and you in every blessed shape we know. Everything that is besides you, the other as your bounty. Bounty is, something that is taken or given as a gift to someone. So all the beauty in the world is but a bounty of his friend, is a blessing of his friend. Had his friend not been there, we would not have witnessed this whole beautiful universe, these beautiful things, these beautiful objects, these beautiful seasons, these beautiful flowers. Nothing would have been there without the presence of his friend. This is how he, continues to praise or exaggerate the beauty of his friend. Now, coming to the last two verses of this sonnet, the concluding couplet: in all external grace you have some part. The strange is that all the external grace, all the beautiful things in the world besides you, तुम्हारे सिवा दुनिया में जितनी भी खूबसूरत चीजें हैं, उनमें तुम्हारी खूबसूरती का हिस्सा है. All the beautiful things in the world have a part from you, or you have a part to play in the beauty of this whole universe. Had you not been there, the things in the world would not have been beautiful. But none you like none you for constant heart. Every beautiful thing in the world has a part from you, but no beautiful thing of the world has contributed to your beauty. You are unique, you are different, you are separate from all those things, and you have a constant heart. Now, this constant heart at the end of this sonnet also reflects that It's not that there is no one as beautiful as you, but there is no one as sincere as you. He is now not only praising the external beauty of his friend, but also the internal beauty of his friend. Now that is very strange, way of approaching the narrative of these sonnets. For example, if we go back to sonnet number 33, 31, 32, 33, 34 and sonnet number 40 and sonnet number 41, 42, what we find that William Shakespeare, the poet, talks about the amiss, the mistake of his friend, the theft of his friend when he calls him gentle thief, and the betrayal of his friend. But suddenly when he reaches here, he forgets all those things and starts praising him, as I said earlier, by going out of the way or by thinking out of the box. As he says that you are not only physically beautiful, but you are also internally very beautiful. Your heart is very beautiful. You have a consistency in your character, which is strange and which is also, a paradoxical statement, or what we call oxymoron in the narrative of this status, because once he had, committed that mistake, that theft, when he was called gentle thief, it was there that he was not having that consistency. For example, when he says, why did you promise me the beauteous day? Now in that sonnet we come to know that his character is not consistent. He is not consistent even in his promises. But here in this sonnet, what poet is telling us that there is consistency in the character, in the promise, in the attitude of his friend. That was sonnet number 53 from the series of sonnets written by William Shakespeare. And I hope that this lecture was helpful for you and you were able to understand sonnet number 53 by William Shakespeare. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to share, like, comment and subscribe at your academy. Thank you for watching.